Brian. Hope you're doing well today. It's 3rd of December. Uh, what is it? When Thursday? Third, I guess it is. Yeah, Thursday, the 3rd of December. Days of the week are really running together for me for some reason. Anyway, we're here to do a quick breakout trade idea session for the Forex Open. The U.S. Forex session opens here in about 7 minutes. So what we're going to do is we're going to run through what we need to look at to see what's moving, see what news is coming up, and see if there are any opportunities for us to take a breakout trade as the news session begins. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into it. First things first, we'll start over here with news. Using Forex Factory, the calendar here is showing us what reports are red, which are potentially high impact, and which ones are lower or medium impact. So we do see that all day we have OPEC meetings. All day events like this, even though they're red, aren't something that we would stay out of the market for. This is just meaning that, hey, there's a high impact meeting going on through the day, all day, right? Something high impact going on. And that makes us want to watch whatever that instrument is and just see if news did happen, if a tweet or a news release or something happened around that could be potentially market impactful, but we're not going to stay out for an all-day event. Tomorrow with non-farm payroll, we do have an event that's happening at a specific time with a big release of data that's heavily watched, and that would keep us away from the market for that period. But this morning, we don't really have anything high impact that would take us out of the market. So that allows us to go on over to our currency strength index over here and see what's going on and see which currencies are actually moving, which ones aren't. We can see coming into the new session, the pound has been a pretty big mover. Pound has been a strong currency over the course of the Asian session into the London session, and even coming into now, it's a strong currency. However, what that means for us over here is that if we look at our pound cross pairs, most of these that we'd be watching have already moved a pretty significant amount of their typical range. Like the pound Aussies moved 120 pips on an average of about 130 to 140. Pound CAD, it's moved 139 on an average of about 120 to 130. Pound USD, it's moved 99 on an average of about 100. So, is there opportunity on the pound as a cross pair? Maybe on a reversal, but not for a breakout idea. Looking at the current trend, playing a breakout in the direction of that trend, probably not the best currency to look at. So that brings us over to the euro. The euro is also a strong currency. It's been diverging nicely from the USD and from the CAD. Euro CAD's a little more volatile, a little more active than the Euro USD. Oh, wrong screen. Pound. So, looking at the pound, we were talking about that. Euro is another one that hits the radar here. Euro has been fairly flat, but leading up to the new session, we see it starting to gain strength. It's being a little more activity on the purchase side of this. So, with that happening, that gives us an opportunity here to look at potential pairings with the euro. So the euro looking to strength here against the dollar, against the CAD as we come into the new session. So what we could do here is take that information. I'll just pull these over instead of flipping back and forth. We could look at the euro CAD, we could look at the euro USD, and see which one of those best fits our bill. The euro USD, it's moved about 46 pips right now on an average of 65 to 70. The euro CAD has moved 54 pips. Let's make these a little bit bigger. On an average of about 90, 80 to 90 pips. So probably looking for that quick 20 pip hit, that euro CAD probably is a better opportunity than the euro USD. But both of them are viable options for a potential breakout opportunity. So looking at that, just looking at our ranges, we can also see that the volume detail on both of these, why is that not offset? The volume detail on both of these is supporting that buying activity as well. It looks like coming into the session, we're really getting a push. A lot of divergence on that euro versus the USD right now. Big push on that one. we may want to wait for that to pull back a little bit before we have the option to get out. So both of these, though, are looking pretty good as potential breakout opportunities. So I'm going a little bit over my time, but what we would want to do here is, as the new session begins, we'll get a using the software here, we'll get a little box, and the box is going to paint. It'll paint 10 pips above and 10 pips below wherever price opens for each of these currency pairings. And then we would just simply look to say, hey, if we move that 10 pips, we get a burst of divergence on here, and we move that 10 pips beyond where the open is, then that would say, hey, let's go ahead and be in that trade and see if it can't run on an additional 20 pips to get us into profit. I'm gonna, both of these look really good, the Euro USD and the Euro CAD. However, the Euro USD just had this big burst of divergence coming into the session. I'd like to see that pull back a little bit before I take a trade on it. So I think my breakout opportunity here will actually be on the Euro CAD as that new session begins, and we get the opportunity here in just a moment to take a trade off of this. But both of these are viable as potential breakout trade opportunities. So do with that what you will. Great place to start if we have a, by the way, if you place that breakout trade 10 pips beyond where current price is, as the new session begins, right? If you place that breakout trade there, if it doesn't fill, 30 minutes to an hour, shut it down. Don't just leave it sitting there, endlessly. The purpose of this trading method is to look at current divergence, current buying and selling, figure out which currencies are moving and take advantage of that. If that move doesn't happen, because we want that momentum of that divergence to get us into a trade. If that move doesn't happen, then shut it down. Don't that means it's reversed and something else is going on, and that criteria that we looked at initially to make that trading decision might have changed. So, take action with that. All right, so that's it for me for right now. I'm going to leave it here. We'll come back in just a little bit, and we'll do a futures session as well, looking at S&P, crude, and gold. All right, have a good day.